And good morning on your Thursday. Hope everybody is well. I just got uh, busy spilling coffee in here, and wires everywhere, coffee everywhere. Never did that before, but we got it, I think. So, coffee is better ingested than spilled. They always say don't cry over spilled milk, don't cry over spilled coffee, I guess. So, good morning. What a, what a wacky day. Hey, Jake, how you doing, buddy? Happy Thursday to you from the great state of Mississippi. Hope things are well over there. It's not quite as cold today. Dipped down just a little bit below freezing here. It's warming up. We're thawing out. We're drying out. It's been a little wet too. We've had some rain as it has warmed back up. So anyway, it's good to be here on your Thursday. Good pet show last night with Miss Jen. Enjoy the trivia and appreciate everybody that joined into that. I didn't get back online. I had some things that I had to take care of when I got home and just didn't get back to it. So tonight, though, full slate of shows, and we're looking forward to Wolf Nation, Cornbread Nation music show. Da da da. We'll be broadcasting late into the eve. This morning, as we do our Bible verse of the day, let me see if I can put this on the screen. It's always better to be seen than not, although it's good to hear. It's good to see as well. There you go, from Genesis 1:26, way back in the very beginnings of the Bible, Bereshit in the Hebrew. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. That verse absolutely destroys those that want to put creature over man. There are those that want to do that. We are over the creatures. Um, I know I have not, Jake, spoken with him, but I know he was sick. So, according to Miss Jen, sick in the bed. A lot of sickness going around. Lots of sickness going around. Lots of kids throwing up at the school and all that. That is another bad thing that's going on. Stay safe out there. Whole families getting sick. Pretty viral situation. So yeah, you got to watch out. A lot of sickness, a lot of viruses and stuff going around still. So be wary of that. Still some areas that are thawing out because it is still very much in the heat of winter. Hey, they raced in the sleet and the rain and maybe a little snow last night for NASCAR's cookout clash. It was it was an odd race, a lot of fun, but also a lot of silliness. But if you like watching them not go very fast and sliding into each other and spinning out and all that, Priest got the win. He was the fastest guy all night, stayed away from the worst of the hits. And so NASCAR is back, and fun event, non-points, but getting back out there. And boy, the rain was really coming down there at one point. They had to stop the race, and so it was kind of fun. It was a lot of slipping and sliding and banging, and it's like it's a very old football stadium there in North Carolina, and it was kind of fun to watch, but it was just silly. Like I don't know, they took the cars off the track, brought the cars back, and then took the cars off, brought the drivers out. I just thought, then they were running out of gas. Kyle Larson ran out of gas. I think Chase Elliott, Hendrick, come on, man, fill that thing up with gas. Silly. Jake says Saturday is the 6-year anniversary of my dad's passing. I need you to keep me in your prayer. David, it's not going to be a good day for me. Absolutely, my friend. I will, Jake. You got to give me a moment. You got to give me a moment. So, yeah, I see it, buddy. Praying for you, man. Praying for you. It's always tough to lose your parents. Both of mine are deceased and have been for many years. Those are tough times, tough days. You know, uh, I'm one of those weird, odd people, and God bless you, Jake, for doing that. And I'm weird in a lot of ways. I guess you could say that's okay. I don't. I do mark birthdays, like I do. Like I can remember most of the birthdays. I don't mark death days. I don't keep up with them. I really don't. I know people spend weeks ahead of time dreading a day on that. Um, I know where my parents are at, and I'll just see them one day. My sisters will remind me, and I'll take a moment there. But I just it's my way, I guess, a mechanism of just not getting. I'll celebrate the day they were born, but I don't celebrate death days, or I mean, it's not even the right word, celebrate, but recognize, mark them. Um, he says, and mom was in '09 and dad in 2020. So I remember my dad's more than my mom's because of it was near a holiday. And so I do remember that and the phone call that I got. It's a very interesting night, though. Um, that's right. Their bodies might be in the ground, but their soul is in heaven. That's right, Jake. Um, and God bless them. God bless them. They produced you, man, and we wouldn't be the better for it if you hadn't been here. So we're glad of that. So glad that you're here. I'm so glad that all of you are here. Take this day, make it your own. Have a blessed day in all that you do, and be a blessing. That's what I try to do. I'm appreciative of the blessings that people bring into my life, and I try to be a blessing to other people. All right, National Day today, National Chocolate Fondue Day. Not really a big fan of chocolate, believe it or not. So National Fondue Day, I'm probably out. It is Optimist Day, and I am what is commonly referred to as an eternal optimist. I try to see the glass half full kind of person. I try to be a very optimistic person. Look for the silver lining, the bright side, all those sayings that we have and adjectives and everything else. I do tend to look at, things in a very positive way. I try to keep a smile, try to keep a song on my heart. People comment about that. You're always humming a song or always whistling a song or something like that. I do because I try to be that person. So I trying to lift somebody else's spirits along the way, wanting them to be happy if they can, because people are so down, you know. Uh, Laughter is not appropriate sometimes, but I try to keep at least keep joy. We may not be happy about everything that's going on, but if we have joy, then praise the Lord for it. We should have joy because we have a lot to be thankful for. It is National Weather Person's Day. National Weather Person's Day. I don't know that we need them, honestly, anymore. I don't mean that in a bad way. But really, do we really need National Weather Person's Day? With today's technology and everything, the local people are just kind of giving you, they always I think they put a little bit more on them, their abilities, and this honestly is technology, and you're just trying to, our area a little bit more so, and they get it wrong a lot because it's hard to get if we're going to get snow or not in this area. But really, it's computer models. That's what they tell you. The computer models, and they're taking an educated guess on a lot of it. They're going to take that model and they're going to say, well, I think we might hit. I'm going to predict it. We'll hit, 85 today when the model says, 80, 83 to 84. I'm going to say 85. Or I think we're going to be a little bit cooler because of this cold front that is shifting. But really, honestly, do we really need them? I mean, I'm not begrudging them the job, but they try to add bunches of things into the weather person's role because honestly, they don't do that much. I mean, in a weather event, they're necessary because people want to tune in and go, is there going to be sleet on my street? Like they can predict that. They'll give areas and tracking storms. Again, it's all computer models and people calling in and saying, I got a funnel cloud over my house. They really, maybe I'm taking a very lowball view of it, but at one time, I mean, it was all, they put the charts together, they did all that. Then they'd stand there and tell you what was going to, what they thought was going to happen. But it's all just computer generated. It's to put a face to it. I get it. It's all marketing, but I just wonder, we really need those people. So they've added in a lot of stuff to their job to make it, and they do it multiple times. First look at weather, then the weather, then last look at weather. Again, it's going to be hot today. But some people are addicted to weather, watching the weather. So that to those people, it caters to them because they just watch weather all the time. It's like the person that watches news all day long. And I can't do that. I have to watch different news if I was going to watch news. Because if you watch news, they repeat everything they said 5 times. They just keep coming back to it because they have a new group of people that are getting up. And so they keep, every 30 minutes, especially every hour, the news is going back over the same stories with mixed news, breaking news mixed in. And so, just, I mean, it amazes me. People will sit there and listen to that over and over and again. Okay, we had breaking news 2 hours ago. It is kind of funny, It's like the weather guy on the street when it's raining and wind's blowing. Here in our town, they put everybody on every mountainside they can, and at the major, they gotta have somebody at the interstate, and then somebody. And it cracks me up because they will say, "Let's put the camera down here," and they'll like touch the ice or the snow, and they'll say, "See, there's ice on the ground already." I just get tickled at it, and they'll be up on a mountain. I mean, it's cooler on the mountain. You're going to get things earlier usually on the mountain. And so it's already snowing here on such and such mountain. Well, you're on the mountain. It's supposed to. It's colder. If the front's coming through and it's going to snow, the mountains are going to get it first. And they're sliding around. See, they'll even push their foot back. See, it's slippery out here. Oh, I'm being mean this morning. It just cracks me up. So, yes, National Weather Person's Day. So, and it's all green screen, right? They're looking at the monitor, waving, here. I just find that humorous. I probably shouldn't find as much humor as I do, but it has always just cracked me up. Oh, but there's somebody wants to see all that, so I get it. It is also today. This is not going to happen. Who come up with this day? National Shower with a Friend Day. Not going to happen. Oh, is that like a football team gets that knocked out really quick because they hit the showers and shower with a friend? I'm not. I didn't enjoy it when I had to do that for work because you had to get the crud off before you got in your car any more than I enjoyed it in the military. You just endure it. Some people are a little bit too at home in the shower scene. They just like enjoy it. Just for me, get it done, get out. But can you imagine calling up your friend? Hey, it's National Shower with a Friend Day. Who comes up with this mess? This was founded in 2015 by some group called New Wave Enviro. They say it's a tongue-in-cheek way to lighten the mood of winter while educating us about the benefits of filtered chlorine-free water. I just see, hey, you want to shower together today? I'm just joking. It's national. We're celebrating filtered chlorine-free water. Oh, so if it was for the chuckle, we got the chuckle today. At least I did. I'm not doing it though. I'm absolutely not going to do that. Birthdays today. Rapper Kevin Gates is 39. I'm not much into rap, so I don't know him. Bobby Brown, 56. Remember the show they had, him and his wife? Man, addiction's on display all over the place. Wow. That's just a sad story. It is also, saw it earlier, Tim Meadows, TV actor, 64. I remember him. Duff McKagan. Yes, Duff McKagan. of Guns N' Roses, still on tour. All these years, they broke up, got back together. Duff has a satellite radio show on Ozzy's Boneyard. Him and his wife, Three Chords and the Truth, or something like that. They're picking tunes and spinning them. The rest of the time, he's writing music or playing music live with GNR. It is also Hank Aaron's birthday, who left us in 2021 for the Atlanta Braves and the Milwaukee Braves. He goes all the way back to Milwaukee, then up through the Braves. And for Atlanta Braves fans, that famous night in 74, 75, where he hit the big home run. And was worked with the Braves after his playing days are over as really an ambassador. He had jobs, but really it was more a thank you for all that he had done for them, all that he had endured in his life with racism. And so it was kind of an honorarium. They gave him, at one time, he was kind of over player development. That wasn't really his role. I don't think that did real well for him. But anyway, they kept him around. And, I just think that I don't think he ever got over being bitter about everything. And I'm not his judge on anything like that, but it's obvious in he really went back to that a lot. He never really moved on from it. He never could put it behind him. And he sort of lived in that kind of world for the rest of his life. It was the only thing that disappointed me. I'd like for him to have been a little more living in the now. Not that we don't have problems, but it's a lot better than what it was then. And he tended to do that. So, but that's his life. It wasn't mine. But, I just, everybody has something that they could, if, I don't live in the past. I recognize things that are there. There are things I never mentioned, people that I knew, and it's just not, there's not profit in it, and it doesn't benefit anybody. So to stay in that kind of world all the time, but a very very strong player in his wrist. He could really whip that bat and crack and have his amazing. He's an amazing athlete. And by the time he broke the record, his numbers were falling off a little bit, but he could still bop one really easy. And so I have a friend that was actually at the game that night I've talked to about that. He was pretty young, but I think he said he was there with his brother, if I remember. He was in the show here the other morning, so I don't know if he's listening, but but an amazing athlete, deep South, versatile athlete. Doesn't get he really gets recognized for the home runs, but he had many other athletic traits. But it's one of those athletes that just came into this world built to do what he did, just naturally gifted to do what he did. People just seemingly came out of nowhere and just dominated. And they chased those records for a long time, finally got them. His records, of course, the Babes records, then his records, with asterisk beside because of all the drug usage, steroids. Some people say, but I still say they had to hit the home run, no matter how beefed up they got. You still got to hit it. So Barry Bonds, people like Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, and all them that really hit a lot of home runs, and a couple others, they did beef up. The Sosa McGwire battle for the home run, that infused a lot of interest into baseball again after really baseball had went down. But for the race last night, attendance was pretty good for a cold, windy, rainy, sleety, freezing rain kind of night. There was quite a few fans there. It holds 17,000. It wasn't packed, but I didn't expect it to be. But the stands had quite a bit of folks in them, so I'm guessing maybe 10,000. I'm just saying, somewhere around that. I didn't hear the official. But we got the Super Bowl coming up. That'll be a packed house. They pay a lot of money for those tickets, too. So that's your national days and birthdays. I didn't know. I've never heard of this one. In 1953, candy rationing ends. Since the start of World War II, sweets rationing limited the amount of sugary goods the public could buy. It was in the UK. The first day of unrationed sweets sees a run on toffee apples, nougat, nougat sticks, and licorice strips. So there was a rationing system that was in place there from the start of 53 or until 53, from 39 to 53. Um, so they put a ration on that. How sad. You can't get your sweets. Small town shout out today. Small town shout out today. Um, and I've been here. I've been here once in my life. Heavener, Oklahoma. Heavener, Oklahoma. I have a hat somewhere in my stack of hats from the Heavener, Oklahoma feed and seed. It was a gift because I mentioned I like hats, unique hats. And so I have the Heavener, Oklahoma feed and seed hat. It's kind of a green hat, which goes kind of in with that. I was not staying in town. I was staying out in the country with a pastor who had about 20 acres he lived on. Beautiful area. A small little town, one knows you have one or two red lights going through, a couple of big factories, and a lot of little mom and pop stores, and it's a rural area. But Heavener, I said it wrong when I first got there. You always say people city names wrong if you're not careful. And I went to this little city, and I I said Heavener because I'm just thinking of heaven, And they said, that's Heavener. It's like, no offense intended. I just got it wrong. I'm sorry. They were cool about it. They were some white settlers secured farm permits to farm the area from the Choctaw Indians in 1880. They settled down to farm. They were farmers. Zachary Taylor Ward and his Choctaw wife, Tabitha Hickman Ward, moved their store from Scullyville, that's another neat name, to the present site of Heavener. Ward died in 1883, and his widow Tabitha married Heavener. The couple owned the land on which the town was established before being named Heavener by popular vote in 1895. The area was known by several different names, including Prairie of the Tall Grass. I wish we had, that'd be cool. Where are you from? I live in Prairie of the Tall Grass. I think that'd be cool. Choctaw City, I like that. Prairie View, nice. Long Prairie, okay, I'm good with it. And Grand Prairie. Gotta be honest with you, I kind of like all those names more than I like Heavener. I would like it if we had names like that. Prairie of the Tall Grass. That would be cool. Boy, people get mad at writing that on letters and bills. What's your address? I live at 1805 Prairie View Lane, Prairie of the Tall Grass, Oklahoma. I could dig that. I wish we had long names. That would be cool. It'd be tough to put on your mailbox, but I'd be down with it. So Joseph Heavener got to be famous for the name, but I like the original names. Choctaw City sounds cool too. I like that. Choctaw City. If they were still Choctaw City, they'd probably have a casino of some kind. Small area though, but you get in Oklahoma, you do see a little one, small, well, big, fairly big, but at gas stations and stuff, they'll have the little side building that's connected, and you go in there and you can play the slots and everything. I saw that when I was traveling through. I would stop to get gas, long stretches of nothing. And I wasn't expecting to see the oil rigs in Oklahoma, but boy, they're there all over the place. At the time of its founding and through Oklahoma statehood in 1907, Heavener was located in Sugarloaf County, one of the counties making up, Moshula Tubby district of the Choctaw Nation. So anyway, it's a farming community, no doubt. That's why I got the hat. So anyway, interesting history there. That's kind of cool though. There is a state park there, Heavener Runestone Park. Um, the cryptic stone appears to have letters from the runic alphabet. Some people speculate it was etched by pre-Columbian Norsemen. I didn't get to go there when I was there. I didn't know about that. So anyway, little town I was at. Preached at a little church there on the hillside or low side. I can't remember if it was on the hill or not, but it was a fun place to visit. Thank you, Josh McDonough. How you doing? Thanks for stopping by and giving us a lot. But I do like that. I think that's cool. Even I'm telling you, Prairie of the Tall Grass, I would love that. Of course, that might not work in some areas. Town of the stolen catalytic converter or something. You could come up with some odd names depending on what's going on in your town. Tall grass, lock your doors. I mean, years ago, I don't know if this guy's even in the area. I've lost track of him, thank goodness, because I just don't want to argue with a guy. But I had ran into a guy, I won't get into names, but I ran into a guy. His daddy was a respected at one time, but he had since died. He had been a respected city councilman, or or the county commissioner of city, I think city. And he had contacted me because he was looking to get some help at the graveyard that had some historic graves in it. It went back in history, some war between the states' graves, maybe even some Indian, and the hillside was kind of collapsing there. And he was wanting to know if I had any connections to some folks he thought I might that could help. So I really just turned it over to some people, a state senator and some people in the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Well, he had claimed, I didn't know this guy's wacky history. Anyway, he came to the meeting. I was on the road at the time. I might even been in Oklahoma, to be honest with you, because I was out west when this happened. He came to a meeting. It went ugly. He got not asked, told to leave because he got real aggressive at the meeting. But he came on local television here in this area. There was a local church that had the rights to the cemetery, small cemetery. They were the caretakers of it, and they did keep the grass mowed, and there was a fence around the little small thing. Well, this guy went on TV and claimed that the town that I live right outside of, I'm right outside the city limits, that the town that was right by me here, that originally his ancestors started the town, and he claimed it was his. So he comes on TV with maps, another name for the town. So he's basically claiming ownership of that cemetery. It got ugly. I watched the show that night. There were people from the church that called in, and they were saying, we've had it. We've always had it. He challenged that, saying he was going to take them to court. I don't know whatever happened to it, but I will tell you the end result of that. This is the saddest part of the whole deal. The cemetery just got neglected. The church washed their hands of it, I guess, I don't know where the legalities of this thing went. Don't know where this cat ended up at. The cemetery is overgrown. You can't even see it now. So what began as a rescue, nobody touches because of any potential legal matters. And the cemetery is overgrown. Like I said, from the highway, you cannot even see it. All you see is, weeds and all kinds of crap, trees growing up in it. Nobody takes care of it now. What started out as a cemetery was at least being somewhat looked after was, they kept it mowed and everything, all that, to now nobody takes care of it. And they have not this probably goes back, I would say 15 to 20 years ago, probably closer to 20 if I had to guess. I'd say at least 15. Maybe as close as to 20, but I'd say at least 15. And the cemetery is being neglected now. and those stones will just fall over. I mean, there's no honor in that. And I don't know, maybe that's a story I need to follow up on. But to deal with this guy, if he's even still in the area, I think he had moved away. He's like a Viking kind of dude. I mean, I just see the guy showing up with a sword at my door in a kilt. you, yeah, what do you want to know about the cemetery? It's mine. Just asking, dude. Just asking. But that's less than a mile from where I live. But it's sad. I'm a big believer in honoring those that went before. Take care of the cemeteries, keep them clean. Wash the stones off. With the right stuff, and take care of them. See a stone turned over. Go out, weed eat. Take care of those things. But now it's overgrown. It's just, really, it's sad. Really, really sad that it's like that. But anyway, I digress. That's your small town of the day, Heavener, Oklahoma. In the news today, yesterday, and I was going to show it last night. I didn't get back on, but the president went out on his social media, on Truth Network, or socials, and was talking about the great. He showed some renderings of the new ballroom that they're feverishly working to get put in place, and so he's touting how good that's going to look. He's now saying that he is going to erect a statue to where did I see that story at? I believe that was to Christopher Columbus, if I remember right, that he's wanting to do that. Did I see that right? Have y'all seen this story? Yeah, a Columbus statue near the White House, and he's moving to do that. Like, he's not just talking about it, he's moving to do it. He is taking steps toward installing near the White House a replica of a statue of famed explorer Christopher Columbus that had been tossed into Baltimore's harbor during his first term amid protests against institutional racism. John Pica, a Maryland lobbyist and president of the Italian American Organizations United, said his group owns the statue and agreed to loan it to the federal government for placement at or near the White House. Pica told the Associated Press in an interview that he was contacted about the statue around Columbus Day last year by an intermediary who said the White House was looking for a statue of the explorer. Pica said his organization took a straw vote and unanimously decided to send the statue to the White House. They signed the loan agreement Wednesday. Asked if he was optimistic the statue would make it to the White House, Pica said, cautiously optimistic, yes. The exact timing for any planned installation was unclear. He said, though, he added, possibly within 2 weeks. So moving fast on this. Maryland State Nino Mangione, a Republican who has worked with the Italian American group to find the statue a new home after it was pulled from the harbor, also confirmed plans for the statue, which were first reported earlier Wednesday by the Washington Post. The White House declined to comment to the AP on plans for the statue, but reaffirmed Trump's affinity for Columbus, whose legacy has shifted as historians and educators amplify how white European figures, blah, 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 and their descendants treated Native Americans and enslaved Africans. In this White House, Christopher Columbus is a hero, said Trump spokesman David Engel, and he will continue to be honored as such by President Trump. So within a couple of weeks to a month or so, you could be seeing the statue back and near the White House. So, for my part, I am not for tearing down of any statues. Even the ones that I don't care for. You don't have to like statues. You don't have to look at them. You don't have to walk up to them. If a group has a land that they have, it's been designated for that, they build it, people poured money into it, as long as it's not something that's, filthy, I wouldn't want, there's things I wouldn't want put up for sake of, just it's not the right thing to do, nasty stuff or stuff. But I'm talking about, something that recognizes something that happened. Some group gets it, because I have, spent my own money to put in for, have monuments raised or to take care of them. And I've helped raise money for 2 or 3 different statues to be put up. I don't want those torn down. They're beautiful black granite in one case, and just amazing. I've did stories at one of them, and I need to do another one. I did one a long time ago. I don't want those torn down. And yeah, I'm not a fan of some of them out there, some that's especially in the last few years. But you know what? I am never going to go see them. I'm just going to not. Again, why tear them down? I don't like that the people tear down history. You can like it or not like it, but let's not tear down the statues. I don't like that mentality. I don't like that action. And, I'm telling you, the people that applaud the statues that's tore down today will be mad tomorrow, because in the days to come, somebody will tear down the statue they like. and that's what's going to happen. I mean, can you imagine the crazy that would happen? Because there are a segment of our society in America who tears down everything historical that America is about. They're idiots. Like I said, you don't have to like everything about a historical person, but they did something that was historical to our country, and we recognize that, and then we've got those statues up or memorials up. A lot of people didn't like the Vietnam Memorial, but you better leave that memorial alone that people go to and on the National Mall or any other thing. You just leave it alone. People's names are on there who died in that war, and you don't have to go see it. Leave it alone. But there's people in this country, and I could see Jane Fonda out front. Could we not see that out front? She would be celebrating her comrades overseas. She'd probably love to tear that thing down. I mean, I couldn't even. Did you see her out the other day running that mouth? My gosh! I mean, this lady. Well, the veterans let her have it again. They'll never forget, and they shouldn't, for how she did with them. And she'll never get past that, and she should never get past it. For what she's never, she's never come off those same beliefs. But it wasn't just that. I mean, she went town to town mocking our military, and you showed your true color. So just go back down and sit back down. I mean, but I don't think anybody really cares what she has to say anymore, but it made news because of her standing. I honestly didn't know she was still alive, to be honest. I swear I didn't know that. I thought she had passed. So she's been kind of out of the news for a long time. And that's what they like to do. They like to get back in the spotlight. Broski, how you doing, buddy? Little House on the Prairie. The Stonewall Jackson question statue that used to stand in Charlottesville needs to be put back. I agree. It was such an amazing statue. Look it up if you have a chance. I think of those big ones in New Orleans. There was at least one in North Carolina that was torn down, and it's ridiculous. Just leave it alone. You don't have to like. Some parts of history. I don't like. It's ugly. But it's history. I want to be able to walk up my grandchildren, my great grandchildren, and teach them about what happened around that time, who that person was. I've done that with them. That was a fun. I took an afternoon and we just did a driving tour, and we went to because there's a lot of statues in the area I live, from in cemeteries and town squares, and we took a driving tour and went to several, and we just sit in the truck and we sit and talked about the statue and what it was about. And it was a hot day. We just stayed in the air conditioning. We knocked out several of them in one afternoon. I was just trying to plant a love for history in their heart and let them know about stuff. So yeah, they should all be put back up. So when I hear people say, I want to go tear down this other statue over here because I didn't like that person, I cringe, because it's all in the eye of the beholder, and there are people that, do like that person or what they were about. I don't have to like it. I have that choice. But I don't believe destruction ever wins like that. It's never a good move. Change hearts. No, ripping down statues doesn't change anything. It just inflames people. I don't expect everybody to like any statue. I mean, it could have 1 million people like a statue, and you could have 2 million that hate it, and vice versa. You don't, but to the 2 million or whatever it was that hate it, don't got to go see it. Leave it alone. Take a different street if you don't like it. Just stay away from it. To me, it's not anything that's going to hurt you. It's just there. It's just an image, and we tend to do that. I mean, we put up. I mean, a lot. I mean, you think about that. I like to go to cemeteries. I like to look at the old parts of cemeteries, and the craftsmanship that went into making these for people that died and people wanted to recognize them. When I'm in a cemetery, you better believe I can look across the cemetery and see something that I want to go read. I didn't know that person. I may not have liked them in life once I learn about them, but I can appreciate a beautiful stone that has been, carved out or now lasered out or wherever they do now, but of black granite, which is so beautiful. Just love to see those. And there are several in our area, and some that I've been a part of. we helped raise money for a couple, I think 3 total that we did. One was smaller. 2 were very much. I came on the tail end of one. These things are very expensive. The cheapest one that, I want to think it was 100,000 on one of them, 30,000 on the other, and I don't remember the last one. But Nickel and dimed and dollared and raised money for those things. Paid people to do it. And I will say though, and that's the battle that's going on in Georgia is the defense of the law. In Georgia, they broke the law. These people went out into towns all throughout Georgia, and they broke a law. We worked to get a law passed in Georgia that you can't. There are steps you have to go through to move a monument, and you just can't go and bring the crew out and start taking the monument off its pedestal and doing. No, you can't do that. Those people broke the law, and there are lawsuits that's working its way through the Georgia courts right now. These people are going to be in trouble. They broke the law. They don't care, but they broke the law. They've moved them. They've put them in storage. God knows, some of them I don't even know what happened to them. But these statues had been in towns for over 100 years. Now, some of the towns decided because of the change of roads and stuff to move monuments and give them a better prominent location at a cemetery, or whatever. That's fine. Things change, but in some cases they did that just to try to get them off the courthouse lawns and stuff like that. Tough, just tough. But you don't have a right to go city councilmen or whoever. And that's what they do. They want to get elected on city councils with an agenda. And the agenda is to get enough votes to outvote everybody else and start ripping and tearing historical monuments down or rewriting the story. Idiots. But you broke the law. Every single one of you that's done that in the state of Georgia, you broke a law. And you're going to answer for it. That's working its way through the courts, and that's a clear violation. You had no right or authority to do what you did. You didn't go through the steps. So I don't know what will happen with that. They're fighting it tooth and nail because they know they did wrong. And so money keeps being raised to continue to fight the legal process, because this thing will probably go all the way up to the Georgia Supreme Court, because these lower courts don't want to man up and do the right thing. They'll keep pushing it on. But the Georgia Supreme Court will rule on this eventually. And there's going to be a lot of people in trouble. There's going to be a lot of people in trouble because it's going to cascade back down upon them. They broke the law, and they don't have a right to that. Trump signed an executive order protecting statues and monuments. I remember that. I've forgotten about it, but thank you for reminding me, broski. And yeah, and we need to have those protections, a federal order on that. Again, you just don't have it's mob rule, right? we have groups of people in this country that think they can go burn down cities, burn down police stations, federal buildings, just cause chaos. And we need protections on stuff like that. We need to get the instigators of that. We need to prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law and put their butts in jail for a long, long time. And, maybe that'll warn the next one about doing such as that. And again, I'm not for any destruction. I was not for any destruction on J6. I don't, just not be destroying stuff. I just don't. I don't like that. And I think a lot of this kind of got fever pitched here locally once we went into Baghdad. Remember that? They started ripping down statues of Saddam Hussein. And that kind of hit the news. That became the rally cry. That everybody became like a dictator. Well, we're going to tear down this monument. Again, you don't have a right to do that. Just leave it alone. Again, you'll never get 100% consensus on any historical. There's always going to be people on the opposite side of anything historical, anything. And whether a battle should have been, whether it should have happened, whether there are bad things that happened there, the monument is just really, a lot of times it's honoring the dead. And many times that is honoring the dead from both sides of a battle, or so in some cases not. But to me, it's like a stone over a grave. It just represents a lot of dead. And a lot of them are at cemeteries, and they're representing hundreds and even thousands of soldiers who died in that fight. It's like here in Chattanooga at the National Cemetery, we have foreign German prisoners of war who died. They're buried in that National Cemetery right there on the same ground with our veterans. I am not for anybody going in there and ripping those graves up. They're dead. Leave it alone. It's history. There's also, just leave it alone. I mean, leave it alone. And just recognize, they died while they were here. And so they buried them there. It was available land, and they buried them there. They gave them, a soldier's grave. I mean, an honorable grave. And, there are people in France across Europe that hate all those American soldiers buried over there. Leave those graves alone. And I'm for military force being put there to protect them. I'll say this: as bad as France and some of those countries have turned, they've done a pretty good job of maintaining there and making sure that those are taken care of. And we have people that are there helping to administer that. But there's hundreds of thousands of graves across Europe for dead American soldiers who died in World War II. And let's leave those things alone. Leave them alone. And you don't have to like. They can be mad at America all they want, but you better leave the graves alone. And so again, I just don't. This whole idea of going up and spitting on somebody's grave, come on, be a better human than that. Just leave it alone. Somebody's dead, they're dead. A lot of times controversial people now are buried in secret cremation sometimes just because they don't want stuff like that happening. I do go into cemeteries. I do reflect on the history. I've been to the graves of people that I would not have liked. Just as it was a historical moment, I wanted to see where they were buried, and sometimes I have no thoughts in it whatsoever. It's just history. Sometimes it's very close to me, there's that great scene in Saving Private Ryan where the guy comes back, right, and he's the one that was saved, and he's at his grave. Touching moment. So you never know what that person meant to someone from afar, even. I mean, for me, I'd love to go to England and see Steve Clark's grave from Def Leppard. I would love to walk up to that grave. I don't know if I ever get the chance to get there, but other than by internet and looking at the pictures from being there. But if I ever had the chance, I would definitely go and pay my respects and lay flowers. So, yeah, it just burns me up that we see stuff like that happening. But the president says he's going to put the Columbus statue back up maybe within 2 weeks. So be looking for that. That'll be something else for the left to get mad about. That's another thing we don't like you for, Mr. President. What else? There's a couple other things I wanted to mention. Some people were very angry or become angry at the president over this on the right because they say he went soft, but he said that enforcement could use on immigration a softer touch. Some people are mad about that. I think he said you still have to be tough, though. In this interview he did with NBC News, he emphasized his administration is focused on removing really hard criminals while criticizing Democrat-led Minnesota officials for publicly attacking federal enforcement efforts despite behind-the-scenes talks with the White House. I've called the governor, I've called the mayor, I've spoke to them, had great conversations with them, and then I see them ranting and raving out there literally as though a call wasn't made. I think a lot of this goes back to the fact that midterms are coming up. This is to a certain degree, even Trump plays that. He can't control everything about this. He probably would like for things to die down just a little bit as those midterms approach, because they're definitely running on opposing the things that are going on. And to be honest, just if you're looking at straight on from a political perspective, the left has gained some votes in key critical, races because of this. It's going to be close, and in some cases we may lose. And I think this is kind of just propping that up. The rallies he's doing to help as he goes around. So this one, they're playing up the two deaths really big, especially really both of them, but especially the last one. But that's become the martyrs for their side, and they're going to drumbeat that all the way through the midterm. So anybody that's anti-gun, anybody that's anti-federal government, anybody that's anti-immigration, whatever, they're going to look at those two deaths and they're going to look at them as, again, that's the flag they're going to carry. The flag they're going to carry to oppose anything and everything this administration does, which is going to roll down into local politics, because they're going to be looking to vote out incumbents, and they're going to be, looking to put their people in place of, if it's an open seat that has no incumbent, it's going to be ugly in certain areas. There is a forum in North Georgia for the 14th. I know Miss Jenna, who's been on the show a couple of times, going to be in Rome. That's coming up. One of the candidates, Christian Hurd, has stepped down from it. He's going to support another candidate. So the field has narrowed just a little bit. Not much though. There's a lot of people running on the Republican side, two on the Democrat side. I believe there's no possibility at all that I could ever foresee that seat going to a Democrat in the 14th. But it'll be interesting to see who does. It should be a runoff. Early voting starts here soon for that special election. Training is going on right now for election poll workers in the counties that are represented in the 14th, and so that's going to be news that's kicking in. I can't remember if that kicks off next week or the week after. The early voting for Marjorie Taylor Greene's old seat. Not very old. She hasn't been out of it long, but there's a lot of ads going on. I've gotten a lot of phone calls and a lot of text about it. They're spending some money. I have seen some signs go up in the area for Jenna, and I'm glad of that. She's local from Chickamauga, and wish her the best. And all the candidates, I say, I wish you the best. Thank you for running, and hopefully the right candidate that needs to be in there will be there. We hope it's Miss Jenna, with her military background and all that she can bring to the table. Now, I don't want that. Hey, Thomas Vick, I don't want that. I don't want the good old boy. It's still in play a little bit. There's a lot of background stuff going on. If anybody could even hear me or see me still, it's kind of funny talking politics, and then I just lose everything, and that never happens, really. It's a rarity that ever happens. If you're still there, I am still here. That never happens. Somebody didn't like what I was saying. It's okay. We'll call it that anyway. I do got to go, and I'll see you tonight. If you're still out there, I got to close the live. I really do got to go. So we started a little early so we could get out a little early. I wanted to officially close it.